Welcome back to the news at 10. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, has directed the House Public Accounts Committee to go ahead with the investigation of the Petroleum Minister, Mrs. Diezani Alison Madueke, earlier put on hold to observe court processes served on the House and turn in their reports as soon as possible. Mr. Tambuwal explained that an earlier directive he gave suspending the probe was not based on a court injunction as widely reported, but a bid to study the court process served on the House by the Petroleum Minister before further legislative action. Well, Children's Day is not simply a day to celebrate the children, but it's also a time to reflect on those who've suffered violence and other forms of abuse. And in the light of this, Duffel Prima Foods PLC, makers of Indomie instant noodles, today at the National Theatre Igwamu in Lagos, took out time to celebrate with the children. On hand to support the gesture was the First Lady of Lagos State, Mrs. Abimbola Fashola, who applauded the company for promoting the well-being and mental development of the children. Our correspondent, Oyoluwa Shonibare, reports.
There are different dates chosen by countries across the world to acknowledge the talent of children. And here in Nigeria, 27th of May is set aside as a special day. Duffel Foods PLC, makers of Indomie instant noodles, has picked the National Theatre in Lagos to give the children a special treat. As the numbers increases, so does the excitement of the fun that lies in store.
Children are the future of a country, of any nation. As a company, we do a lot of the activities for children, and now we are celebrating Children's Day with our children. We will be hosting more than 55,000 children across the country.
When you start well with the kids, it's actually building a generation. Starting with children does not mean that we're not identifying with adults. It's just a way of starting up with them. Once you start up with them, it's a generation that you are targeting and you catch them young.
The children showcase their skills in various forms of dance, instruments, and poetry to establish why they deserve to be celebrated. The special guest arrives and after receiving a dose of the entertainment, proceeds to give the children advice in ensuring they understand the importance of such a day.
The children in Nigeria say, how can we be saved? Thank you very much. And I'm sure you're praying for them. Yes or no? Do we want those girls back? Do we love education? What does education give us? Education gives you the power for you to make your choice.
And she is well appreciated. Children are blessings, and their care and development should be everyone's priority. Oyoluwa Shonibare, Channels Television News.
First Bank, truly the first.
Welcome to Business News. Ogun State is open for investment and partnership with the private sector in two crucial areas of agriculture and housing. This was the submission of the state governor, Ibukule Amusu, at the opening of the state's Investors Forum with the theme, Agriculture and Urban Development, Ogun State, the New Frontier. According to the governor, food and shelter are interrelated and remain priority areas for his administration. Our correspondent, Bisi Koka, reports.
The second edition of the Ogun State Investors Forum comes less than 2 weeks after the successful hosting of the World Economic Forum in Africa in Abuja.
So I should call him a magician.
For the convener of the forum, Governor Ibukule Amosun, the first edition in 2012 was an eye-opener which has yielded positive results, especially in the area of creating an enabling environment for investment to thrive in the state.
The hosting of the first edition of the Ogun State Investors Forum, and now about 46 major industry, with a total investment of about $7.3 billion, have established businesses in the state.
He then explains the reasons behind this year's theme.
Our urban development and housing strategies are closely related to agricultural development plan. We are focused on the development of both primary and secondary agricultural production in both public and private sectors. In doing this, we will not only be replacing the aging farming population, empowering and strengthening our local farmers, increasing investments in public utilities and social welfare. We will also be developing a conducive climate for business and investments, and we will have institutionalized the development of the agri-business system.
The former president of Mexico, Mr. Vicente Fox, recommends in his keynote address fostering public-private partnership as the blueprint for speedy growth and development of any economy.
We must associate private investment, private corporate world with friendly governments, with governments that understand clearly that only investment creates jobs and income, and that by partnering private and public investment, we multiply our capacity.
Ogun State, the gateway to Nigeria, is this.
A documentary put together by the Ogun State government was shown to further highlight some of the major achievements of the state in the last 2 years.
Ogun State is Nigeria's best kept secret.
The Ogun State government intends to use this platform to showcase its potentials and attract more investors.
Thank you very much.
BC Kolka, Channels Television News.
The United States government has indicated plans to invest $7 billion in its Power Africa initiative. Well, this is according to the Undersecretary of Commerce, Penny Pritzker, who is leading 20 American companies on an energy business development trade mission to West Africa, and specifically Nigeria and Ghana. Another $14 billion is being sourced from 35 private sector partners for the project, which is expected to improve electricity in Africa. Our correspondent Amarachi Ubani reports.
The United States is believed to be Nigeria's biggest trading partner, though that role is being contested by countries like China and France. To propagate the U.S. President Barack Obama's vision for deepening relations with Africa and Nigeria in particular, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Penny Pritzker, has arrived in the country, leading a trade mission of 20 American companies on energy business development.
Here in Nigeria, where youth unemployment is roughly 40%, we want to support innovators as they launch startups and create jobs. This is crucial for long-term stability and economic growth.
As the interest for this mission is energy, Ms. Pritzker explains why she believes the move is not only strategic, but essential to Africa's growth and development.
Studies have shown that Africa will need $300 billion in investments to achieve universal electricity by 2030. Already, the United States government has committed $7 billion towards Power Africa and has secured additional commitments totaling $14 billion from 35 private sector partners.
On behalf of the business community in Nigeria, the chairman, Hares Holdings, explains the win-win opportunities for U.S. trade interests.
The era of brain drain is coming to an end in Nigeria. Every day, Nigerian diasporans are returning home because they recognize their home country to be a place of opportunity. Every day, new businesses are cropping up and others are evolving to adopt the highest standards of corporate governance well established in the U.S. and other developed economies.
The United States Trade Mission is confident that if factors such as rule of law, maintaining ethical standards, and abiding by workplace safety are observed, they will encourage other countries to do more business in Nigeria. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
Finally, key indicators at the local bears dipped 0.15% on Wednesday following profit taken by investors. The all-share index is now at 39,102.77 points. Loretta Chiogo has more.
Hello, you're welcome to Stock Market Report tonight. Midweek session on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange was characterized by profit-taking and some level of cautious trading as key indicators slipped from previous day's standing. The benchmark index dipped by 0.15% to close at 39,102.77 points. The market capitalization closed at 12.911 trillion naira. Leading the losers table is Seplat Petroleum with a drop of 4 naira from its share price. It was followed by Guinness with 2 naira 93 kobo, while newly listed Carboton shed 92 kobo. On the advances list, Nigeria Breweries added 2 naira 70 kobo to its share price. Flour Mill and Total gained 1 naira each on investors' demand. On the volume chart, Wapik Insurance pulled the highest volume of shares at 328.7 million units, while Zenith Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank trailed behind. In total, 852.3 million units of shares were traded for 10.224 billion naira in over 4,000 deals. And that's it on Stock Market Report tonight. I'm Loretta Chiogo.
Well, thank you so much, Loretta. That's it on Business News. On the news at 10, we'll leave you with those global markets before Ijoma returns with the rest of the news at 10.
Truly the first.
Still ahead on the news at 10, angry protesters storm gallery in Belém as the World Cup trophy continues its tour of Brazil. That's on sports. Do stay with us.